Time Travelers. Welcome to today's episode of Will of the Dice Presents Cast Guidance.
Dun, dun,
I'm
dun.
Tyr the DM, the world's okayest DM, and with me today is Raff. Hey, Raff.
How you doing? Welcome. I'm Raff. I'm a follower and constant person in chat who decides to come on and guest host every now and then with Tyr. And I'm looking forward to today's discussion. I think we're starting off with spells, but other announcements first.
Yes, we have announcements. First announcement. We are for mature audiences only. We cuss a lot. We make sexual jokes. Things that may offend you. Secondly, we are in no way, shape, or form affiliated or associated with any TTRPG creators, manufacturers, or publications. We're just two individuals giving our questionable opinions. Third, we would like to thank our partners in this endeavor, Level Up Dice, for all your sexy dice needs. You can go check them out, see what they got, get some Level Up Dice, get some dice holders. To do that, you want to go through our portal, which is bit.ly/capital LUD, Will of the Dice, all one word. Yeah, that's announcements, I think.
Yeah.
Locke is not with us today. He's handling some real life stuff. Well, we will miss him, but we should see him back next week. So, hello, everyone.
Greetings. I hope you've had a good week, fellow listeners. It's been an interesting weather week here in the northern part of the world where I'm at. We went from 30 to 80 in about a day, and then back down to 30 next week. It's it's entertaining.
That's one word for it.
Yes.
I call it fucked up.
That's a polite word for it.
So we've changed up the format of the show a little bit. We will have topics we discuss, but instead of having a singular topic, which we will not stick to, we're just bullshitting, shooting the shit, talking stuff.
Mm-hmm.
We do want to make sure that we're interacting with you. So if you have any questions or comments during this, make sure that you throw them out there.
Yes.
So I want to get started. Yes, blame me. I'm the one that let Raff on. So I saw a meme going around that got me thinking about rules as written for spells.
Yes.
And the meme was that someone takes a ring, casts enlarge on it, convinces the big bad guy it's a crown, they put it on, they break concentration, it crushes their head.
Yes.
While that is creative, won't work. Part of the spell, one, you can only double something in size.
Unless he's got a really small head.
There's a lot of reasons it won't work, and then that got me to thinking about, well, when you're DMing, when do you go with rule of cool versus rules as written or rules as intended?
Mm-hmm.
For me, I'm willing to vary from the rules some, from the rules as written to a degree, but I'm not willing to go way the hell overboard with it.
Yeah, and I tend to agree. I tend to, oddly enough, I generally go rule with cool, and rules and the spirit of the rule for most other things. When it comes to magic and magic spells specifically, I tend to go rules as written more than anything else. Very specifically, 1A, because I've got a programming background and details matter, but they've spent some time making sure spells specifically say certain things and have certain effects and describing those effects so you can differentiate between the spells, because otherwise you get too loosey-goosey with your spells. They all kind of blend into the same thing after a while.
Yeah. And it's like the whole adage, give them an inch and they'll take a mile.
Yes. What?
Yeah.
Players would never do that.
Yeah. Every time, all the time.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, generally rules is written as generally the way I go, very specifically because of the third and fourth order effects of allowing. Well, if I allow it here, what's that mean for things down the road?
Exactly. And anything you allow for the players, you have to allow for the monsters.
Mm-hmm.
So it can get muddy, it can get messy. So I think that while I will allow some manipulation of spells, depending on the spell and the way it be manipulated, with an Arcana check, for the most part, I'm like you, Raph. I tend to stick to rules as written with spells. I think that is the cleaner way to go.
Mm-hmm. Now, within those rules, if you come up with unique ways and to make that work, okay, I can't argue otherwise. One of my favorite examples is the magic missile spell. Okay, you hit whatever you're targeting. Well, I target that switch across the room that drops the gate. I can go with that. I hit it with a magic missile, it flips the switch, or damages the switch, causing the gate to fall. Okay, the effects of how they apply the effect, I could run with that because it's not too far outside the bounds of the spell.
They in second edition, I had a character that was a fighter mage that learned the levitation spell. They were a bounty hunter, and what they would do is they would study their prey and
Mm-hmm.
find out when they like to go to taverns, and then levitate heavy objects above the door and drop it on their prey.
What? That's a very excellent. It's within the bounds as long as you concentrate and it stays up there. Yep.
It was very effective.
Yes. One of the more interesting ones that came out was Fireball. Everyone's favorite spell for just about any use. When in doubt, Fireball. But they pointed out the Fireball is fire damage. It's not force damage. So there's no explosion. So you're not blowing anything up. You're not blowing up a house and sending splinters and things everywhere. You're just a large thing of fire going whoosh. now you're going to look, aren't you?
Yes. Well, actually, what I'm looking is, so the Welsh Turk put, what about create water in some guy's stomach? In order to create water, you have to have an open container. So in order for the stomach to be an open container, you're going to have to gut them.
I got a dagger.
They're going to be dead anyway. So
hey, if that's how she wants to, flavor her drinks, that's on her.
it's not really. it's not.
Now, yeah, if you open his mouth,
there's still the sphincter in the esophagus and the sphincter at the top of the stomach that stays closed 99% of the time. So no, it's not. It's not.
And at that point, if you've got his mouth held open, you're just pouring water down it anyways. Do you really need to create water in his stomach?
Okay. Now I'm searching the Fireball. I'm curious about this.
Yeah, it was one of the. I came up with one of the. I want to say Tiamat's Tavern. They talked about a thread that got all over the place. Talked about the fact that Fireball is fire damage, not force damage.
But it says in the description an explosion of flame. So it explodes. It's in the description. It explodes.
Now I have to pull that up.
It ignites flammable objects.
Yeah, but damage effect is fire.
Right, but it still explodes.
An explosion of flames. See, this is where we talk semantics.
Yeah, in D&D terms, there's no force damage, so it's not like shit goes splintering or anything. But I've never played it like that. I just played it as a big all-engulfing whoosh of flame.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it does. Yeah, it specifically said that this fire does spread around corners too.
Yes.
So everything. So if you're hiding behind a brick, a column, you're getting flamed too inside that area.
Which goes to the question is, okay, Fireball is, let's see, what save is it? It's a deck save.
Yep.
If you have full cover, you're supposed to not be able to be targeted by deck save spells. But this one says it goes around corners.
Ooh. That's a rules conundrum. Well, no, because you're not targeted. You're not being targeted specific. Well, yeah. In theory, the fireball is hitting square X that someone is standing in or something is there. And if you're in square Y behind a column getting full cover, you're not the target. You're just collateral damage inside the area of effect. That's
say that because it states it goes around corners and shit, it ignores cover. That's how I would take it.
Yeah, and that's where I'd go with it too. So yeah, you'd still be able to take damage from it, but now if they targeted you specifically,
they couldn't target you if they couldn't see you.
I've had people try. Not necessarily the fireball spell, but let's see, sphere, area of effect. And it says specifically point of origin, clear path to target. Yeah, still requires to target something, you must have a clear path to target too. So,
what if you target the cover?
Target the shield to hide behind. That gets into those splitting hair moments. It depends on how much your players have been bothering you that day. Depends on where the battle's going too. If you're targeting a player with a fireball, one, why are you targeting with a fireball? And two, are you going for a TPK or are you just trying to make it harder for them because they're having too easy a time?
Never intentionally go for a TPK.
I haven't yet. And I don't think I ever would, but there are days.
I build encounters that have the potential to be a TPK.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm never sitting here going, "Oh, this will fuck them,"
No, I have built encounters that counter some of their more common tactics and abilities to make them work outside of what at disadvantage or try and come up with a different way to do things.
Yes, rocks fall, everyone dies. Right. That's a good one, Wrestling.
Yep.
Welsh Turkey, you're going to have to elaborate.
Yeah, her question was, could you use something like heal to insert something into a body through a wound? I wouldn't say heal. Insert something.
Is she talking about like shoving something in a wound and then casting heal to seal it in there?
That could be interesting. There would be a big lump where it's at, depending how big it is, but yeah, an exploding thing, and I want to seal it in an open wound. That's if you got the bad guy down like that already, where you can heal him and insert an exploding object beforehand, I question your motives. Yes, that would definitely change your alliance. All right, that would change your alignment. You would definitely not be a good person for doing this.
And this is where some of the shit's just vague, because cure wounds and stuff doesn't say anything about actually mending wounds. It just, you regain a number of hit points.
Mm-hmm. But what does that mean by gaining a number of hit points in terms of physical effects on the body?
I guess because the name of it's cure wounds, that it heals wounds. So yeah, I guess you could.
Yes, that rather gruesome, but sure. And definitely not for those if you play with alignment on the good side of the alignment scale.
No, that. I don't know. Depending on why you're doing it, I could see chaotic good getting away with it.
Yeah. Oddly enough, the evil party I'm playing with has toyed with this idea of, but not necessarily curing wounds, but putting exploding things inside zombies and sending the zombies into various places and let them explode.
That could work.
Mm-hmm. Because reasons, or not reasons, because we had a couple chaotic neutral style players, even though alignment's kind of gone away in our campaign on that side, but they still have characters that tend towards certain areas. They're not, yeah, they're very chaotic in how they do things and very impetuous versus the more logical and planning characters.
Alignment needs to go away. It really serves no purpose in the game.
No, it doesn't. If you get stabbed by an exploding zombie, will that turn you into a zombie? No, the zombie has to bite you. So if he bites you before he explodes, yes, you'll turn into a zombie.
I'd say if it was the teeth, because that's where the bacteria is carried.
Ooh. Ooh. Shrapnel teeth. How mean of a DM do you want to be?
Make a dex check to see if you get hit by teeth.
Yep. Yeah, alignment, back on the subject of alignment, yes. For the most part, it needs to go away. The only time it gets actually used anymore in most campaigns that play or see being played is when it very specifically calls for a spell effect. Detect good, detect evil, protection against.
I've seen it come into play when a character went so far outside the bounds of what their alignment was supposed to be that it changed their alignment.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not something that comes into effect normally.
No, I think in some ways that could go away too, especially when you're talking detect good, detect evil, and the protection spells that pretty much are the ones I mostly call for that type of status, is to change it to a creature type. Protection from Fae, detect Fae, protection from demons, detect demons, stuff like that.
Yeah.
That would be much more, that would actually work a lot better because then you have the much more specified situational spell that they're looking for.
I don't even think detect evil works on alignment anymore. Hold on, let's see.
Detect evil and good. Oh, and good.
Yeah, it just now it tells you if there's a aberration, celestial, elemental, fae, fiend, or undead. It doesn't detect alignments.
Nope.
So even spells that used to detect alignments don't detect alignments anymore. So alignment needs to go.
Yes. Just because I'm curious. Protection from evil and good. Yeah, it's till the spell ends. One willing creature you touch is protected from certain types of creatures: aberrations, celestials, elementals, faes, fiends, and undead. So the traditional, even at this point, they've specified the type of creature, not necessarily the alignment that goes with it. So, yeah, they're very much moving away from it, and it needs to be a dead system for the most part.
Yeah, I don't. Welsh Turk asked, can you homebrew it out? I don't really use it. Like I said, if somebody is playing a chaotic good character and starts doing multiple chaotic evil things, then their alignment will change. But like that doesn't really mean anything either. It's not like it has any impact in the game.
No, not really. It's just okay. What's this? What are the act? The impact is what the actions the character has done, because Newton's law applies. For every action, there's a reaction. In game.
It's supposed to be a baseline for how your character would act, but I think that giving players the agency to determine that themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a tool to keep people true to character. But I mean, if somebody wants to be a chaos bunny, all they got to do is take chaotic neutral, and then it's like, well, that's what my player would do. They're chaotic neutral.
Yeah, chaos bunny. I like that term. But yes, but yeah, Yes, Welsh Turk, definitely you. But yeah, I don't know. I can't see alignment being used anymore. Because I've played other systems where they have an alignment, but it's not the D&D style alignment. The Palladium systems, they use it as a code of conduct. If you're scrupulous, your character is going to follow the rules. If you're aberrant, you might have a code of honor of your own, but it's your own code of honor that does not necessarily apply to a society. And if you're just diabolical, you're on the I'm going to do whatever the hell I want, and I don't care about the consequences of my actions. But it's a code of conduct versus a judgment value of good evil. Because there are definitely evil characters and creatures that are scrupulous. They're scrupulously evil, and they use the law and they follow the rules to their ends. So,
Lex Luthor, that's a perfect example of a lawful evil.
Yes, he is. See, that's a different thing, though. We like to apply the alignment chart, though, to characters outside of the D&D universe, too, that describe, and, this is this type of character, but how one-dimensional is that description when you start looking at the character?
Sure.
Because speaking of Lex Luthor, by the end, if you watch the old Justice League cartoons from the late 90s, the DC ones, they're really good. They still hold up well even now. In the end, the very end of it, Lex Luthor was actually good. He was the kind of the one that ended the threat. It wasn't everyone else. It was him walking in and say, "Hey, look at this shiny thing," and done. He took the big bad away with him.
Cool.
Yeah.
Welsh Turk asked, so would you keep the lawful, neutral, chaotic? No. I would keep the good, neutral, and evil. That would...
Yeah. Of the two, the good, neutral, evil, if you had to just pick one or the other, those would be the ones I'd rather keep. Because the lawful, chaotic, and neutral are situational.
Yeah. So that's how I would do it. That's how I pretty much do it anyway.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Are you generally a good person? Mostly. What are your motivations behind it? Well, if I'm nice to everyone else, I can manipulate them doing the things I want. Wait a second.
That doesn't sound good.
But I'm doing good. That's the premise of our evil party.
It's kind of like, chaotic good, the end justifies the means.
Mm-hmm.
And so I can see, good, neutral, evil being all you really need to describe your character.
Yes. Or good, selfish, and evil.
I got to take a moment. I didn't do this on air, and I want to do it on air. I got this pimp-ass dice bag from Holo the Wise Wolf.
Ooh, cool.
Yeah, it is nice. It is soft, too.
Aw.
I want to say thank you so much for the dice bag.
Yes, that is shiny. I haven't seen them in chat yet, but hopefully. But yes.
I see them as users. I don't know if they're listening or not. So.
Okay. Are there spells that allow only certain alignments to use?
Not that I'm aware of.
Nope. Not that I've been able to find. No. However, certain spells do play to darker alignments. Animate dead, raise dead, control dead, undead. Those tend to be more darker spells, and if you use those, you have to question why.
I can't remember if second ed there was spells that were alignment based or not. I don't think there were.
Yeah, I think second or third. I know third ed only evil characters could cast cause wounds.
Okay.
If I remember.
So, yes, there used to be.
Yes, but in fifth ed, I have not found any yet that have come up. Yes, an ethical necromancer. Welsh Turk said something. I want to play an ethical necromancer. It can be done. It's fun. The necromancer we play with in our group, she has not taken. We're a level 11. She has not taken a single animate, dead, or control undead spell. She's hit all the other fun spells in the necromancy sphere. So it can be done. Yeah. Or, ooh, I just found a money here. Welsh Turk, we have a money-making opportunity for your ethical necromancer. Do you miss your loved one? Do you need to speak to them to make your final partings since you haven't had a chance to say goodbye to them? I can bring them back for you to talk to for a little bit. Do you have problems with the will? Do you want to have things further explained? I can help you with this situation. Wait a second. That's not too ethical, is it?
Ethics is a matter of viewpoint. So.
Yep. Speak with dead. Car dealer necromancer. Here, what come down to Bob's necromancy here? The slightly used half-off zombie is good as new, only half off. Come get it now. Get just the top half of the zombie walking away.
We're stacking them deep and we're selling them cheap.
Uh-huh. It'd be a setting like that. It could be interesting though if you go to an undead setting. The Chaos Gate cycle, Marguerite Tracy Hickman. If you read any of that, they had a portion of the world where the majority of the people of the world were undead. You died and then you got brought back as a zombie or revenant and whatnot, and you worked for the society. You died and then you went and worked in the fields as a zombie or something like that. I could make for an interesting setting. And the power mongers, or the powerful creatures, and those who had political power were the necromancers that could do that.
That would be interesting.
Thoughts? Yeah, thoughts. I don't know. No, add Raff.
Yeah, I don't need any more ideas. Thank you.
I got one world I'm trying to build as it is. Damn it. Oh, yeah. I've been lucky so far. I've kept my players in most of my campaigns regional. The players kind of stick to the region they're in. They haven't decided to travel the world. But the world exists, and I know what's going on and where things are at. It's just I haven't fleshed out a lot of the other areas because they're not there yet. Oh. Welsh Turk, remind me not to sign any contracts with you. For those who aren't paying attention to the chat, she posts, do you have debts you can't pay in life? Come on down and sign up to pay them off in your death. Free your family from your problems be a zombie today.
Indentured zombiehood.
Oh. Yeah. That's Where can I put that in my world? Right over
the same
here.
thing.
Damn you. Ooh. That actually plays into my next campaign.
That's how you know you've become a DM, when you're running your campaign and already planning the next one.
Yep. Where is this going? Because I know how this campaign that I'm running now ends, and it pretty much sets up the next campaign, which I plan to be a world-spanning campaign where they actually start traveling to some of the other areas of the world and see the after effects of some of the other campaigns, because I kept most of them regional. Yep. Yes, Holo, there was something about you. We said horribly wonderful things about you.
I was just giving you a shout out for my dice bag, Holo. And I loved it. Thank you.
Yep. Yeah, interesting campaign. Speaking of interesting campaign settings, Spelljammer.
Yes. Oh. Spelljammer and Dragonlance are becoming official 5e.
Yes.
I am so excited. I want to pre-order the Spelljammer on D&D Beyond, but right now money's tight, so I'm just like,
yes, I am so looking forward to that. As a kid, when Spelljammer came out, I was just super excited, super into it because it's something so different, but it hit some of those itches that D&D didn't quite have in some ways. Yes, the world of Kryn. Problem with I love Dragonlance, but I see it coming already. I love Kryn. We're gonna have a rebirth, a rekindling of the love of the Kender. Yep.
all right, folks. So here's, for those of you that don't know, a Kender is a creature with low intelligence. They are kleptomaniacs. They love shiny things. They gather anything they can, and they have no fear. And second ed, the Death Knight, had his death song, and it caused fear in everyone. But it says in the description, except Kenders, they cannot be frightened.
Yes. And yes, you're right, Lollipop. Kenders are the biggest pain in the ass for DMs. Not because of how they're set up, because of the way most people play them. And that's been my big issue come across Kenders is they play them too much to the smart ass, steal everything. They miss the light-hearted, good-hearted nature of most Kenders when they do it.
Yeah, they play them like third graders with that are kleptos.
Yes. Yes, they are more like Charlie. They're sweet and lovable, and just randomly they don't intentionally steal things either. It's a there to do shiny thing in my pocket. I remember the old D&D tables was when you pull something, you reach in your bag, you roll it at a D100 table, and that's what you pull out. And you had a good chance of pulling out a dagger as you did a shiny rock. They didn't just go after rich things and valuable things. It's just magpie-esque. Ooh, something cool, something shiny.
A friend of mine played a Kender that got a wand of lightning bolts.
Oh,
it was bad.
Ooh, gully dwarves. Oh,
yes. I love gully dwarves. They can only count to one.
What? If they're really good, they count to two. One, lots, many plus one.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what we get in Dragonlance. I'm looking forward to seeing how Spelljammer is converted. I mean, it's D&D in space.
Yeah, and I back in the day I had the original Spelljammer box, the Spelljammer itself, the ship box that they put out for it, and the adventure to go with it, because there was actually a ship out there called the Spelljammer, and it was just a giant manta ray looking ship that flew through space that characters could get stuck on, and no one could really control it. It was a cool place to go hang out and do some adventuring because there was factions on it fighting it out because it's a giant city-like spaceship flying everywhere. But yes, I look forward to how they do some of the Spelljammer stuff, especially with the helms, because helms were a major magic item that had to be created.
Yeah.
So, yes, I am looking forward to Spelljammer and to a lesser extent Dragonlance, mainly because of the nostalgia of the Dragonlance books, because those were my jam as a kid. I read all of them, and yeah. But I don't know, in some ways, when you're talking heavily storied settings like Dragonlance, that can almost kind of limit how you play too in that world.
Yeah.
Because if you don't want to mess with the storyline of the primary arc, so how do you work your characters in and out of that, because the characters are going to want to go find the primary arc characters and mess with them.
What do you think? And yeah, folks, we're all over today. We are always all over. Usually we have a topic, but we never stick with it. So
we started somewhere. I vaguely remember back there in the rear view mirror.
So this is our new format, folks. What are your thoughts on Wizards of the Coast buying D&D Beyond?
Cautious optimism. Partially because you're going to have a much more direct link between what Wizards of the Coast puts out in the books. It'll be right there in D&D Beyond fairly quickly. But my biggest hope is they merge the two. So if you get a book, you get it in D&D Beyond. So you don't have to spend all that extra money on buying the book physical copy if you like physical copies, and then buying the book in D&D Beyond. I could see some of the other portions of the subscription fees or how they set up D&D Beyond going away, like the ability to share books. If they do that, I don't know. I definitely know the fees will probably go up on D&D Beyond, but that's a foregone conclusion at some point anyways. Yeah. But in some ways, I'm cautiously optimistic because it may increase the link and give us some of the features that we've been asking for.
Yeah, I'm hoping they don't do away with content sharing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hoping that they follow the path of Games Workshop, and when you buy a physical copy, you get a digital code.
Yes.
But like I said, I'm hopeful, but reserved with my hope.
Yes, because we've seen Wizards of the Coast do interesting things to other properties too.
Yeah. Tandem Raff, I am excited for ship rules as well, especially since they convert to seafaring ships a lot of times.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll be good to have a good set of ship-to-ship combat, since I like to have my sea battles and my airship battles. And
yes, that's one piece. I guess that's one piece I miss, or I have a hard time not homebrewing, or I don't know how to describe it. D&D in the fantasy setting and any of the RPGs really don't handle large-scale combat well without getting bogged down. And maybe Spelljammer adds some of that excitement with ship-to-ship combat, and that's something I've had to deal with in my campaign recently is, well, they had two armies that are getting ready to go at it. How do you incorporate the players in it on the battlefield without drawing out the massive mechanics of, thousands of fighters going at it on the field?
There's actually rules for that. If you Google D&D 5e massive combat,
mm-hmm.
There's rules for it, and you basically assign your characters to units, and then the units benefit from things that the characters get. I don't like the rules, the massive combat rules. I play it. I do mine 7th edition 40K style. The characters are independent characters fighting other independent characters, and then the soldiers are units.
Mm-hmm.
And I do the same thing to roll the D6s, 3 ups a hit, 4 ups a wound, 4 ups a save.
Yep, and it's done esoterically on the side and not in-depth detail unless the characters get into it specifically.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's kind of the route I've been going. All right, you're out on the field, you have an objective to go get the other commanders. So your local combat is between the commanders and the characters, or whatever their objective is, and the rest of the mobs are fighting each other around you. And depending on how you do, may affect how the overall battle is going. So very much the rest of the fight becomes almost flavor text in some ways.
Pretty much.
But yeah, that's I don't know. Look forward to
I would
Skull
like to see a revised Massive Combat update.
Yeah, because what was it? Battle Force? No. They had a D&D miniatures way back in the day version of large scale combat. I can't remember the heck the name of it was.
I don't remember.
I want to say it was Battle Force, but that's not right.
The Googles.
To the Googles we go. And see if chat can beat us to it.
So D&D grew out of a game called Chainmail.
Mm-hmm. Mass combat. Problem is, we're looking for a product that's pre-2000 that predates the internet. That's
It was called the Dungeons and Dragons miniatures game.
straight up okay. D&D battle system. Yep. Yeah, that's how long we've been playing. That's how long it's been around. D&D predates the internet.
We're old. Get off our damn lawn.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'll see. I don't know. I haven't found a system yet that really emulates mass combat though well.
That's why I use Warhammer rules. That's the
Mhm.
closest thing.
Yeah. But yeah. Ooh. Speaking of siege engines. Speaking of mass combat, I got to go look up rules of siege engines for my game Monday night. The characters picked up a ballista. Are going to use it in their next fight.
Nice.
So I got to figure out how that's going to work in their fight. I expect it's going to be a one shot, and then they're going to go jump on whatever they shoot at. But they asked for one, so they're going to get one. That falls under the player characters thinking about what they're doing first before they go and do that. Like, what? Planning? Yes, we will reward your planning as a character, as a party.
Oh, they get a +6 to hit, and they do 3d12 plus 9 piercing damage.
Ooh. Take that account. I'm going to have to up my giant skill. Uh-huh. Doing the calculus in the background. Okay. Calculate that first shot in. And it'll look epic and cool, but how can I not necessarily negate it, but as a DM, make sure it doesn't totally end the encounter right there. Yeah. Here's one for you. How to handle... So, my players got a hold of a massive, I'm going to break the game, world-ending item, and what do I do about it?
Fireball. That's always the answer.
That's right, fireball. Are those items still in existence anymore in 5e?
Like which items?
I don't know. Yeah, that's right, no fun. But again, it falls back to our original question, though. Rules as written versus spirit of the rules. The person who did the thesis on how to create a nuclear weapon in D&D using portable holes and bags of holding.
Yeah.
So that doesn't work anymore. Or the rules, what was the rule they kept trying to use? The pass the bolt between the characters, 500 peasants, and eventually it'll get X number of damage or something like that.
Yeah, it's like if you had like so many stand in a line and they each took 6 seconds to pass it to the next one and be traveling so fast that it's basically a rail gun.
Creative thinking, no. Either that, by the third character, for third peasant who picked it up, he'd explode because he touched it.
Yeah, if it gets up that much velocity, you're not going to be able to hold it.
I know, wrestling. We're no fun. That's the job of the DM. Keep you from breaking the world too much. Keep you from breaking the world in rules-bending, inappropriate manners. As long as you stay inside the rules, you're going to break the world. And in some campaigns, i.e. what Tyr is doing right now, that's an actual option.
Yeah, my players took a game that was supposed to last another year, and it'll be wrapping up in 5 to 7 sessions.
Mm-hmm.
Because they went from A to X. They skipped everything in between. So...
Yep. 1, 2, skip a few, 98 plus 2.
Yep. But I'm proud of them for it. Honestly, I am.
Well,
it makes my life a little bit more challenging, but they did good shit.
Exactly. That's rewarding the characters' thinking and planning, and that's kind of that's how that works. They thought up a way to do it that was novel and actually well thought out, and they get rewarded for it. I now have to readjust my campaign to account for that now, but i.e. they skipped a whole bunch of steps in your campaign.
Yeah, they did. They skipped quite a bit of shit.
Yep. But like I said, as you mentioned earlier in an earlier cast, there's 5 ways your campaign ends, and one of them is world breaking.
Yep, one of them is apocalyptic. That's the one I'm hoping for.
Yeah. That could be interesting.
Runith Kesh has already had one apocalyptic event. As were the ones that came before. Mm-hmm. That's why they loaded their spelljammers and left.
They're like, peace, we're out. We're done with this place. Oh, interesting thought. Speaking of spelljammers, as we cast Tangent yet again, if you're not looked into it, the webcomic Schlock Mercenary, it's a sci-fi one. But towards the end, they postulate and have it set up where that the galaxy had multiple civilizations that decide to just up and pick up and leave the galaxy because it's too hostile of a place to live. And they send characters outside the galaxy to make contact with these civilizations that are just hanging out outside the galaxy because they got tired of all the crap that goes on inside the galaxy. So there's just a massive amount of billions of sentient beings just hanging out in world ships outside the galactic plane because they got tired of dealing with everyone inside the galactic plane. So that could be interesting. Interesting thought. If there's a lot more to it, that'd be kind of fun. Spelljammer. I don't want to go near any of the crystal shells for the planets. What's over there in that dark nothingness? More dark nothingness. There's got to be something. Damn it! Can you outstubborn your characters?
All right, we're gonna go ahead and take our break. We'll be back in 10 minutes.
That works.
Go get our snickety snacks and all that. So keep hanging out. We'll be back. got our beverages, our snickety snacks, and all that.
I appreciate it.
Today it is Casting Tangent with Raff. So let me explain. Normally, this show has a topic, and we try to stick to that specific topic. They have made changes to my pain medicine. I am a chronic pain patient. And last night, I did not sleep. It was a living hell. So I'm exhausted, so I can't stay focused on one thing. So that's why we're just all over the fucking place today. It's my fault. Next week, hopefully, we'll be back to somewhat linear with tangents in the middle.
Sure. My belief face right here. So, over the break, I asked my significant other about some possible topics to just at least start this conversation. And she brought up an interesting thought. Multi-classing versus a class that merges two classes together. We see it in D&D Beyond in 5th Ed. We saw it start to show up in 4th Ed. We've seen it in D&D 3.5 and Pathfinder. Those in-between classes, what's better? Is it take the in-between class or just a straight-up multi-class? And how do you approach that, and what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I don't allow multi-classing. So your only option is to take an archetype that gives you the abilities or whatever that you want from the main class. So your subclass is what? The reason I don't allow multi-classing is threefold. One, because people make crazy, stupid, broken builds. Perfect example, if you listen to last week's Locke's barbarian fighter that only took psychic damage and only half of that.
Yes, it does allow for some game-breaking combinations.
The second is I have enough to keep up with. I don't want to have to keep up with how many levels you have and what. And the third is that, and I just don't like them. I don't like multi-classing, so I just don't allow it. That's just
fair enough. I guess outside of the really stupid broken builds, why would they allow it then? Versus, especially now with you all have the subclasses that pretty much give you options out of other classes and allow you to merge some of the other classes with your subclasses. And yeah, outside of having the broken build, is there a benefit to it? Because I can't see a benefit to multi-classing unless you're doing something really, purposely game breaking.
Yeah, I don't see a benefit to it either. Not in 5e.
Because you start losing your, high end. I'm hitting level 18, 19, 20 in a certain class. You get a lot of really nice abilities. If you start multi-classing, you start missing out on those. So I was just curious. It's a thought, and I don't know. I tend to not like multi-classing in general because of that. If that's the way I want to take my character, I plan for at the beginning. I pick a subclass that covers what I want to do.
Yeah. And that's the thing, when you've seen so many new subclasses introduced with Tasha's and stuff, that there's really just about any subclass to fit any situation you was wanting to multi-class in.
And or any build or character style you'd like. So yeah, multi-classing generally does not make sense anymore. So in D&D 6th Ed, do you think we'll see it?
Yeah. It's been around, I know, since 2nd Ed, so it'll stay. I think that we'll see it. I think alignment will stay in 6th Ed too, as much as I hate to admit it.
Yeah, but I can't see it though. I think alignment might actually go away.
I wish it would. Now, what's interesting is the one thing that I've heard a lot of people speculate about getting rid of is bonus actions. I mean, they're not game breaking, but some people consider them to be, too powerful, too much of an advantage to your players. and talk about that they suspect Wizards of the Coast to get rid of them come the next edition.
Okay. I'm not sure I agree with that because there's talk going back to you have a move action, you have an attack action. That's it.
Yeah, I don't want to see that. I want. That's one of the things that drew me to 5th edition was the action economy.
Yeah, yeah.
It handled so many problems that other editions had, and made it so streamlined and made it so it's easy as a player to remember. It's easy as a DM to remember.
Mm-hmm.
It helps you plan your encounters. Oh, quick, shut the doors, thoughts here.
Oh no, not the Ustad. But yeah, and it gives you just a little bit more to do in a turn other than move, attack. You have a bonus action.
Exactly.
And the way they've structured the bonus actions, they're not super game breaking either.
No, they're not. I think they balanced it well. You cast a bonus action spell, you can only cast a cantrip. If you know,
Mm-hmm.
if you have certain abilities, you can attack with the bonus action. You know,
Yep. Yeah, I tend to agree with that.
I'm trying to get myself back in my box. I'm off centered and I can't figure out which way I need to go.
Which way you need to lean?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't know. I can't imagine that would go away. That's I don't want to say smacks of you don't want to change things. How dare you get away from the classic style D&D attitude? Why do you need to change things? By going back to just the move and attack action options. But they haven't done that because even third ed they had free actions and swift actions. So I don't know. Don't agree with that one. Experience system. Is that going to go away? The experience point system?
I don't know. Some people still like it. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I'm considering going back to it next campaign.
Really?
Yeah. Just because I enjoy giving the reward of the XP at the end of the session and, giving extra XP for really good role playing and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. I can see that. So that's more on the DM side. I like giving out shinies to reward people, but I'm still running on the event style. You hit the certain the milestone marker for leveling. You hit this milestone in the campaign. All right, you're gonna level up. So I don't know. I'm not sure which way I'd go with that because I agree with you. I like being able to hand out XP at the end of the session. Hey, you did something cool. Here's a little extra for you. But in general, how much does that matter? It kind of mattered in the old school system when you had various leveling charts for the different classes. Back in second edition, where wizards took forever to level up.
Yep. And fighters leveled up every other session.
Yep. But what third edition and beyond, they went to the singular leveling chart. So I was gonna say, how much would? But then you start getting a party that's mixed level, and you have to deal with the dynamic of that.
You shouldn't see too much of a mixed level, though. I mean, if
True.
everybody, so in 5e with the Adventurers League, the way it was done, and this is what I adopted in my home game. XP is evenly divided among all the players at the end of the session. So even if you did something to gain extra XP, you was gaining extra XP for the party, not just yourself.
Fair enough. Yeah, I could see some of that, and that helps part of it, but it misses the part where you're rewarding people individually for thinking of the cool thing or the putting the effort into the role play. I don't know. That one's we got to think about.
Yeah.
That's a balance issue.
Now the parties that I played with using this manner, they liked it. Because that way the people that weren't comfortable role playing, they would try to help the party and things of that nature. So
fair enough. Right. So the other question that got asked over the cast break, if we throw another tangent out there, races. Everyone has their favorite race, and everyone has that race they just cannot stand. Are there any races you have banned in your campaign worlds?
no.
Okay.
If it's official, I allow it.
Like the only race I've banned ever in my campaign was the Kender. And that was because at the time people were playing them so wrong. And I just got tired of dealing with the Chaos Bunny kleptomaniac. It just, all right, now, just go away.
I can see if someone was being a problem child with it.
Mm-hmm.
I can see banning it. So yeah, but as of today, I don't have any ban.
Nope.
I do have items banned. You can't take items of warning in my games.
Mm-hmm. Yep. We threw a ball and hit tangent. Damn it.
Yeah. And again, guys, like I said, I have not slept, so trying to stay on one track today is just impossible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, items of warning, that could be game breaking though in some ways, unless it's a lot harder for the DM to plan things if their character's always aware you're sneaking up on them.
Exactly.
I did have to adjust my campaign world because someone took a Dragonborn because I didn't have Dragonborn in my world at the time. Like, crap. Where does he come from now? Scramble, scramble, scramble. Oh, hey, there's this continent over here covered in Dragonborn and other things. You're from there. Evil grin.
I've had those moments.
Mm-hmm. And that continent now has shown promise in later campaigns and actually affects this campaign because he's not the only one from that continent running around in the campaign in the region they're in. So he's got to deal with the other people from his region that no one knows how to deal with. So, yeah. So what else do you? I know you ban warnings, but you also ban certain combinations as well.
Feats.
Yeah, certain
you
feats.
can only have. There's a list of feats, and I don't have it at my fingertips right now. But there's a list of feats that if you take one of them, you have to talk to me about it.
Mm-hmm.
We have to discuss it. But you can't take a second one from that list. Like you can't take Sentinel and Polearm Master. It's just too overpowerful.
Mm-hmm.
You
know. Yes. Where did the half vampire for the Wild West come from? I have no idea. But
it must be something specific for you because I
my half vampire kind of showed up in the world, and I think he had to scramble to figure out where it came from, and now it's a whole campaign arc.
Oh, okay.
But I know you did Sentinel, also sharpshooter and sniper. No, there was a feat with sharpshooter you weren't allowing.
But it's like I said, it's like you can take one of these.
Mm-hmm.
You just can't take multiple from this list. Like you can't take advanced sniper and sharpshooter. You can't take Sentinel and Polearm Master or Sentinel and whatever. There's a list of them that you can't take. Hold on, let me see if I can find it.
Oh, is it on the internet? It's not a list that you put together per se?
Oh no, it's my list. I just got it saved under a document.
Oh, okay. Because you're probably not the only DM who's come across this problem then.
So you can only have one from the following list.
Mm-hmm.
Alert, Lucky, Bountiful Luck, Polearm Master, Great Weapon Master, Sentinel, Crossbow Expert, Sharpshooter, Elven Accuracy. So like you couldn't have like Polearm Master and Sentinel. That's just broken as fuck. You couldn't have like Crossbow Expert and Sharpshooter. That's broken. or lucky and bountiful luck.
Mhm.
You know, you get one of these from that list. And it's worked out really good so far, and nobody's had any complaints. So
Mhm.
we're gonna have to cut this episode short. My back is just
Fair enough. Yeah. Like I said, that was the big question was, how to handle the odd races as they show up your campaign. And the scramble becomes of where did that elephant, the Loxodon, come from? We don't talk about the Loxodon in the room.
uh, uh,
Ooh, that's an interesting concept. Hold the Wise Wolf. The character I'm trying to pull together for the one shot is the player knows their race, but the character doesn't know their own race.
that's
Ooh,
interesting. I'll have to think on that.
that could be an interesting character concept build. Especially, it's one of the more rare races that show up that it's not common.
Yeah, yeah, that would be that. That's a cool idea. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
Since we are cutting this episode short, do you want to come back next week?
Yeah, I should be able to make it next week. Yeah, we'll have to discuss a topic so we can be a little more planned. Because hopefully,
There'll be a topic and planned for next week. This week was just
no, that's fine. Hopefully, he'll be back next week, so there'll be three of us to cast tangent and wander everywhere.
but thanks so much, guys, for listening. I'm sorry, it's just a super bad pain day. I just can't hang.
That's fine.
I'm sorry to you guys and to you, Raff, for cutting it short. I got to get a horizontal.
Mhm.
Uh, Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Raff, remind them who you are. I know that you don't have a Twitter yet. We need to get you one so people can find you.
Not sure I like that idea, but yes, my name is Raff. I'm generally a member of the audience, and I'm generally a decent DM. I try to be. I support this podcast. I support Tyr and everything he does. So continue to watch us. Continue to support Tyr and his endeavors, and that's who I am.
Thank you. I'm Tyr the DM, the world's okayest DM. I even have the T-shirt to prove it. Maybe I'll wear it tomorrow night when we stream. You can find me on Twitter at Tyr_the_DM. Um, Again, I'm sorry. I'm just in an epic shit ton of pain. But just remember, folks, love each other, be kind to each other. It costs nothing to not be a dick, you
Mm-hmm.
know. And remember, next time, if someone doesn't know, don't cast aspersions, cast guidance. Love you guys.